Uh, if we are very, very observant, one of the ideas that is contradicting, one of the ideas that is confusing today, it is this idea of judgment. Now, if you meet many people, they will tell you it is not good to judge. Some will tell you, judge, just because of what Jesus Christ said, that judge not, you will not be judged. And in different occasion again, he said, judge righteous judgment. In fact, that is one of the scriptural verses that is common among us today. But as I've come to look at all these ideas, I've come to ask myself this question. Is it possible that we can judge others without judging their action? Of course, welcome. This is the School of Moral Thoughts with me, Mohammed Edwin Senesi. Today, I'm going to talk about the principle of judgment. Because I see this idea of judgment as a mature job. So it takes high level of maturity for us to understand it. Maybe I might convince you in your mind, but not in your heart with what I'm going to say. So feel free to share your comments, feel free to share your thoughts, feel free to ask a question based on what I'm going to say, because I'll be meek to receive them. Now, as I have thought of this question, judging others and judging their action, I have come to learn that it is totally different. Yes. Now, if we are very familiar with that story in the Old Testament when the Lord told Prophet Samuel to go and elect one of the sons of Jesse to become king over the children of Israel. Now, when Samuel went, he met the eldest son, who was Eliab. And because Eliab was large in stature, he wanted to anoint him. Now, this was what the Lord told him in 1 Samuel chapter 16, I think verse 7. He said, "Look not on his countenance or on the stature of his height, for I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on what? In the heart." Now, when I read the scripture, I've come to learn that indeed it is totally different to judge people and to judge their action. And I've come to learn that it is only God that has that ability, that has that power, that has that access to judge us. None other person else. Because man, there is no way we can see the heart of another man. So we can just judge their action because we can see their outward appearance, but we can't see their heart. So today, let's look at 3 tips how we can judge people's action and not judge them in a more positive and in a more loving manner. Now, tip number 1, don't take things personal. Now, what do I mean about that? Today we are living in the world with different people who always form wrong opinion about us. But one thing we need to learn is they have right to their opinion. Don't take their opinion your own, mostly when it is negative. Don't allow their negativity enter your heart and make you forget who you are and what you can become. If what I can advise, always see them as what? As a child, someone who is still learning and growing to know more about you. Because if you see them as a mature adult, at the end of the day, you'll be angry and judge them negatively. But when you see them as a child, someone who is learning and growing to know about you, at the end of the day, you'll be more positive and compassionate to judge them in a positive manner. So don't take things personal. Let them go. Because most of those things they form about you, most of their opinion they hold about you, it might not be true with your personality. It is just true with your character. So if you let it go, at the end of the day, you will see them as a child, then you will judge them positively. Now, tip number 2. When anything happens, don't go back in the past and bring those things that have passed and judge people's action. Because if you do, you end up judging wrongly. And notice that everyone has the tendency to display every attitude or behavior in different circumstances. And also we need to know that everyone has the tendency to change. Because if we think people cannot change, then we are denying the plan of God. His plan is that every one of us will change and become like him. So let's not focus on the past when judging people's action. Let's focus on the present. Of course, we can make reference from the past, but let's not use it and judge. The past is to be learned from and not to live in. When the past comes to our mind, let's forget it. When it comes again, let's forget it again. If we do, then we'll judge people's action positively in a more loving manner. Now, tip number 3. When anything happens, the first thought that will come to your mind, or the first thing that will come to your mind, don't use that and judge people. Don't use that and jump into conclusion. Because if you do, you end up judging wrongly. Now let me share my experience on this. I went for a ceremony and food were given to us. So I decided to put my own food in my bag and place it at one of the corners. That when I get home, I'll eat it. Now when I got home, because the keys I used to open my door was inside my bag, I decided to remove the food and place it at the parlor. When I entered the room, I haven't opened the door. After some time, I forgot about the food. And when I came to my senses, I checked for the food in my room. I didn't see it. Guess what happened? The first thought that came to my mind was, the person that gave me the food didn't want me to bring the food. Or someone removed the food from my bag. Now, I don't really know what brought such thoughts to my mind. But actually, when I saw the food, I repented and I wrote this in my journal, that at any time anything happens, I will never use the first thoughts and judge people. Because if I do, I'll end up judging wrongly. Of course, the first thought, it is not always the right thought. Sometimes it is, but we need to evaluate it. We need to measure it. If we don't, we'll definitely judge people wrongly. So we shouldn't judge according to the hearing of our ears, but let's judge righteous judgment. We shouldn't judge according to the sight of our eyes, but let's judge in a more positive and a more loving manner. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys will share your comment with me. I mean supportive comment, because that's what friends do. We support each other. Remember, all these tips I've shared, they are not lists to go do this. They are just suggestions based on my own personal experience. Thank you very much. I appreciate your effort.